Namaste. So family. So I want to talk about however long that will be, whether briefly or lengthily. Okay, because sometimes I start these discussions off with the intention of them being briefly, but somehow they turn out to be being uh 1 hour conversations over an hour conversation in length. But I want to talk about child rearing, and it's a good thing. It's as though spirit's been nudging at me to channel this message. um and you saw that post that I posted earlier about being brought up by toxic mothers, or just paraphrasing, I don't remember exactly how it was quoted, or dysfunctional mothers is just as bad as absentee fatherhood, or the absentee fathers. And this is something that I've spoken on before. This is something that I completely 111% agree on, because we have let me speak specifically in regards to the black community. Since y'all like to segregate, let me dissect and deal with the black community beat. So most of my experiences and observations are from and through such. Now, I did a video on the 7 deadly sins. I did a video, I think that was Sunday, on the 7 deadly sins. Just scroll through my, Instagram, IGTV, the TV section, Instagram TV section, IGTV, and you will see, you will listen rather, because most of my videos now are not much visuals, okay, but the message is what counts. Now, I did also touch on the 7 heavenly virtues. The 7 deadly sins are what are ushering rather the 4 horsemen, which we can see the evidence of them. We are under the pale horse frequency, 5th house in Scorpio, speaking of, in terms of astrology wise, astrologically. The 7 deadly sins, the 4 horsemen rather, they are judgment upon humanity for giving into the 7 deadly sins, and allowing themselves rather to be possessed by these 7 wicked spirits. And one is of pride, one is of greed, one is of lust, one is of envy, one is of gluttony, one is of wrath, and one is of sloth. Now, I know even to this day I am not one who is consumed by wrath, because a while ago I had to chastise my older son because he was doing something I specifically warned him not to do. And it was playing with the hammer. A hammer. I'm not talking a toy hammer. I'm talking a real hammer that, masons use, carpenters use. And, what I've noticed with him specifically, he's not listening to me. And, okay. So I spoke of, the relationship that I had with their father, and how abusive he was. And one of the main reasons why I left their father, because they share the same father, Joshua and Asher, my only 2 children, was because of them. Because I told myself, yes, I'm not in love with anybody that much, in which you are going to be toxic and I'm going to allow myself to stay with you. There are other fishes in the sea. Other fishes. Remember that. And if I have to stay to myself for years, I will do that. But I'm not going to accept less than what I deserve, or less than what my children deserve. And I left him because I saw he was setting a very horrible and bad example for our sons. And I knew that if I stayed with him, my sons would, grow with the mentality that it is okay to abuse women. It is okay to be wrathful. It is okay to be, wicked and sadistic. Okay? Wrath. Right? A lot of these men, I must speak specifically in the black community, they don't like truth. And yet, the black race, the melanated race, is ruled by that Leo frequency, the sun. Everything is, exposed. Most things are exposed during the daytime. And yet, y'all don't like being put on blast. Y'all hate people, not for the right people, 2/3 of you, but for speaking the truth. For outing you, for exposing you, your toxicities, your devilish and satanic ways, your negative, attributes. You don't want to be outed for that. People talk to you, you don't listen, but when people out you, you're upset. Look at that. And that's why the Bible specifically states that 2/3 of Israel, melanated people, not all melanated people, but specifically of that, race, because y'all were given the laws and the statutes of the Most High God, yet it meant nothing to you. The laws and the statutes, they mean way more to who you consider the Gentiles, the people of other races, than, to you. Y'all just put on a form of godliness that the Bible speaks of, but denying the power thereof. The Bible speaks about you, children of Israel, descendants of the transatlantic slave trade. Yeah, that's you. And these people, like I've been saying, form syndicates against me. Their judgment is signed, sealed, and delivered. It's just a matter of time before it's manifested in the physical realm, the matrix, because domes, like I've been saying, are eclipsing. Prophecies that Cancer moon-like frequency, moon frequency, being manifested in the matrix, that sun frequency, the physical, the ego. So it's time for all of y'all who's been giving me trouble to die. I'm telling you, like physically die, and get the hell out of my way. Hallelujah to the Most High God's name. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. Because what I value more than money, more than prestige, is peace. To just be in my own space, unbothered, especially by mentally deranged people. And since the boys have been here, specifically Joshua, because he's the one who didn't come with me to St. Mary, there's this defiance about him. Mind you, he's not been around me for the past 2 years. 2 years of them and I, especially him, we've been separated for 2 years, or about 2 years, or a little over 2 years. I'm gonna estimate that to 3 years. We've been separated, me and them. Let me round that off to 3 years. Because I said these people, I don't even want to call them people, these things have been trying to create a gap between my sons and I, and they're not growing them properly. They're growing into sloths. God forbid I repel that energy and frequency from them. Lazy. They sit, and the exact location in which they sit and they eat these snacks, they throw the wrappers in the same location. The bin is not miles away, but for some reason they can't seem to get up and get to the bin and throw away these wrappers, these garbage. Okay, And so whether it's in the sofa, they throw these wrappers in the sofa. You've got crumbs in the sofa. They're laying in the crumbs. That's some slothful, nasty frequency. Sometimes it's on the floor right next to where they were sitting. The floor sometimes right next to the sofa in which they were sitting. So these people, they fought to take my children to corrupt their nature. And the funny thing is, at the end of the day, they're going to say, they took that from me. I am the one they inherited it from. Yes, children inherit, ways and characteristics from their parents. But children live what they learn. Remember that. And one's environment does, play a role in their, development. And to each individual, this varies, because, like, for example, me growing in a dysfunctional unit, I react differently because of my frequencies and my placements and my aspects. Okay, some people growing in dysfunctional units, they become dysfunctional themselves. So everybody reacts differently. But the point of the matter is, children do live what they learn. And the only way you are gonna, learn differently or live differently from what you've seen around you or learned is if you're a black sheep. Period. Dot. And this could be a black sheep in a good sense or a black sheep in a bad sense. Okay? Now, these people, they speak all kinds of negativity about me, around my children, to my children about me, as though my children are adults, as though they're, lawyers or, members of the judiciary, body, or law enforcement, or the justice system. These are children. But they do this so as to, create a gap between me and my children, so that when I speak to them or chastise them or discipline them, they will give me, they will reject my chastisement and my discipline. And they will, pretty much just, cast that off as just me being a mad woman, because that's what they tell them. That's what they, manipulate my children. And, listen, that's the least of what they tell my children. The horrible names that these people call me before my face, in front of my children, and behind my back, because I'm an intuitive, I know. I don't even want to mention some of these things, and none of them are true. But when people are so envious and covetous of you, they try so desperately to tarnish your reputation unjustly. They have no proof of you being a certain way, but they wish you were a certain way, so that when they tell people that you're a whore, you're a prostitute, that, it will manifest, and, you will start acting like a whore, and they will say, see, I told y'all she's a whore. And that is why you gotta vibrate so high. You gotta exude such positive frequencies and such positive energies and possess them yourself, that when people hurl those, insults and disrespect at you, you become a mirror, a retractive mirror that, retracts back their frequencies back at them. And so every time they look in the mirror, they see a whore, they see a prostitute, they see a mad woman, a madman, they see an ugly person. All of the nasty things and energies and, images they try to portray on you, they're going to see that manifest in them. That's a prime benefit of ascending to higher frequencies. You protect yourself from psychic attacks. Period. Dot. Because people speaking ill against your person is a form of psychic attack. And they know. Because we know it's according to the scriptures, and the Most High God that life and death is in the power of the tongue. We know that. And we know people use their mouth to kill people and to give people life by the words they say. But when you're vibrating so high, the only ones they're going to kill is themselves. Because all the negativity that they try to send upon us ricochets right back onto them. And when it's ricocheting, it's not to the same effect or with the same effect. 100 folds, 111 folds. And if they keep on, that keeps on amplifying and increasing. 200 folds. Can they manage that in one fold? No, they can't. How are you going to manage 100 folds of what you try to send upon me? How are you going to manage 111 folds? How are you going to manage 200 folds? And I had to chastise him because I saw him, 2 times before, since I, came back here, with the metal hammer, swinging the hammer, and he was swinging the hammer as though he had no awareness that it's, it's a dangerous tool. It can lead to someone's demise. In other words, you can knock someone out cold with that. Yeah. And there he was again with it after I told him not to, and hit his brother in his head and caused a bump in his brother's head. That defiance. They have a television upstairs that they can watch and entertain themselves. For some reason, someone's been messing with the chargers because they're trying to hinder me from uploading my readings. So all of a sudden, my chargers, they stopped working. I borrowed Joshua's charger, which wasn't working so well to begin with. They too were manipulating his charger. Okay? Because they know he likes, his comfort. He's not that much of an outsider, outdoor person like, Asher. Okay? They have different frequencies. 7 brothers, 7 different men. And, Spirit revealed to me that, the problems that he's been having with his charger, they are, a form of manipulation. Energetic and physical manipulation. Someone, definitely, bent, the end of, that connectivity end that, is used to connect to the phone, of his charger. In spirit, I saw that clairvoyantly. Okay? I heard the message clairaudiently. And, to upset him. And so, it wasn't working so well. I borrowed his charger. And, I was like, I didn't want to borrow Asher's charger because that's the good one. And, because the message, I have to put forth the message just the same. That's my North Node. And all of those people, not just them, but other people who have been trying to hinder me. There's no sorries. Keep your sorries. There's only death for you. Because once the high priestess closes that door and it's fed up, I don't trust you anymore. I'm not going to take your call. Right now, I'm at that point in which I'm not taking any phone calls, period, dot. There's nobody that I trust to take their phone call. And so, any client, any potential clients out there, you got to text me on my WhatsApp, DM me on Instagram, message me. I'm not going to tell you to message me on Facebook because I'm not really on Facebook like that. Or direct message me the old-fashioned way. And we will communicate in that sense. I will call you in regards to the payment. I will call you. So if I don't call you and you hear my voice and I give you directions in terms of how you're gonna pay me, whether that is through my bank account online or that is through MoneyGram, because I don't deal with Western Union. They're full of shit. Okay, so I will tell you how. Okay, and I don't like the whole, sending to my bank account, because people try to impersonate people that way. So if you don't hear my voice, you know how I sound when I speak in Creole. You know how I sound when I speak standard English. Listen to my videos, get used to my voice, because that's how it's going to be. I'm not going to send you any voice notes so you can play over and over again. I'm going to call you. Okay? It might not be from my number, but I'm going to call you. And I'm going to give you, most likely this is going to be via MoneyGram. Okay? You can still send money to people via MoneyGram. And it's going to be in my name, Anastasia Spence. Okay? If you check in my followers list and who's following me and who I'm following, you will see an account, Miss Anastasia Spence. That's my name. Nobody can impersonate me at a MoneyGram agent. No one can impersonate me at a MoneyGram, location or agency, I should say. Okay? And I would more prefer it that way, because people are so deceptive, and I don't want anyone to get scammed or frauded. I don't want anyone to tell you to send money to this account, that account, and it's not my account, and I don't get that payment. I don't get your message, because like I said, someone's been, playing with my phone. I don't trust these telecommunication networks. So I will call you. Get used to my voice. I have a very distinctive voice. I realize that no one can impersonate my voice. Okay? Yeah. So contact me via Instagram. Okay? And or WhatsApp. And I will call you and give you a confirmation in terms of the method of payment. Let me just say that. I don't even know how I got to the whole payment process thing. But let me just, go back to, the whole rearing, child rearing. Your children cannot be around people. You cannot, it's not right for your children to be around people or to be brought up around people who don't respect you. That's the point I'm trying to make. Because your children aren't going to respect you. He could have seriously hurt his brother, but just because they have, infected his mind to not respect his mother, just as his father did through his abusive actions. He could have, even killed his brother. That's something very serious. Obedience, the Bible says, is better than sacrifice. And, this leads me into, the 7 deadly sins. Hold on. Joshua, I love you. You upset with me because I was, upset at you. I know you didn't mean to hit him, but baby, listen, it's not a toy. It's a grown-up tool that grown-ups used to build houses and to build furniture. It's not for children to play with. What was that? on, stupid. That's just your way of burying something. Maybe you were trying to hide it. Listen, what you gonna do? You're gonna shower now? You guys are showering too late. Okay? Oh, I love you. Hey, I'm talking to you. I love you. Listen, what mommy's trying to say. Listen, baby. I don't want to see you with the hammer anymore. You can make a play pretend hammer from the Lego blocks. That's why I bought them. And it was a good buy because you've had them for what? 3 years now? Over 3 years you boys have had them Lego blocks. Yeah man, over 3 years. Yeah, about that time. It was, I bought them, let me tell you when I bought them. I bought them December 2017. More than 3 years. I bought them December 2017 when I was working at Sutherland's in Mandeville. That was 2017 December. That's when I bought them. So it's over 3 years now. You boys had them. Yes, those are good toys because they're sturdy and strong. You can. I know they won't make sturdy or strong hammers, but still. Okay, because you see, I know you didn't intentionally hit him, but that's the point why I've been telling you not to play with it, because accidents happen and nobody is perfect, not even mommy. I would not play with a hammer. The only way I would use the only reason I would have a hammer is to use it to build or to nail, stuff together, right? Join stuff together. It's not to dig the earth. It's not to play with. You're listening to me? So I know, of course, I know you didn't mean to hit him. I know that. I know you're not cruel. I know you're not a bad person. You're not wicked. But I did tell you two times before. Didn't I tell you 2 times before? Not to play with the hammer? Yes. You did not listen to mommy, and that's why mommy was upset. Because I want you to listen to me, because I'm not telling you anything bad. Right? Right? I love you. Are you going to bed now? Look here. Hey. Jazzy. Joshua. You can come back down tomorrow morning, but don't hammer. Did Grandma finish? Did Grandpa finish using his charger? Oh, maybe his phone is dead, because how long? I think we've had the charger from morning. So when he's finished, I'm sure he's going to lend you. Just ask him. All right. All right. One bed, baby. One bed. Oh, okay. Okay, sorry for, that pause there. But, whether this is another parent or, a so-called, grandparent or relative, if this person, has no respect for you, they should not be allowed to be around your children or your child. Because your child is not going to respect you. And you are, it's way better, if they listen, rather than, you have to chastise them. And when I say chastise, I'm not talking abusing them, which is to afflict them physically. I'm not talking that. Okay? It's having to shift your frequency to a very stern frequency. All of that is pretty much unnecessary, if they are obedient to begin with. So, I realize, a lot of nowadays children are, not just nowadays children, even children even people, I hear me saying children. I have a right to say children because a lot of people in my age group, a little older, and a little younger. I'm gonna add 5-7 years to that, and I could even add 10 years to that. Are very immature. I'm not. Pretty much my guidance counselor when I was in high school, I think about grade 9 or so, told me I was very, very mature for my age. Most young people my age at that time, weren't thinking, about marriage and family. And, I just always felt comfortable, speaking with older, more mature people, ever since I was a youth. Because I've got a knack for knowledge, like I said, people who I can learn from. I have no time for clowns and people who play around. Like I said, though I was very jovial, I was, nonetheless a very, stern, disciplined child, and I'm who has grown into a very, stern, even more stern and more disciplined adult. And but I realize a lot of people my age group and 10 years plus or minus, there's a lot of immaturities there in their mentalities. And like I said in, I think was it a previous video, I think it was one of my recordings, one of them messages that I transmuted, or quote unquote so-called parents, they did not rear us properly to possess the 7 heavenly spirits. Because once you possess the 7 heavenly spirits, automatically you are repelling the 7 deadly sins, because each of these 7 heavenly virtues are opposites to these 7 deadly sins, and both cannot coexist within an entity. That causes major contradiction. That is not so. It is always either hot or cold. And so I find that a lot of especially men within that age gap that I mentioned, and my surrounding my age group, have a lot of pride. It's the hardest thing for them to apologize. But the funny thing is, the most contradictory thing is that I realized, the ironic thing is, they are so offensive, disrespectful, narcissistic, sadistic, cruel, and rude. And they've got very thin skin, but at the same time they are so offensive. And repel humility, repel being apologetic. Their upbringing. Now a lot of the black sheeps, we were grown, we absorb the 7 heavenly spirits, because we have frequencies that would not permit us to bow down or succumb to whatever it is that we do not value or we are not about. So we're strong-willed people, in other words. A lot of these so-called parents, especially these mothers, because especially children my age group, people my age group, I should be saying, did not grow up with or biological fathers. Some no father figure at all. But let me specifically stick to the biological fathers. And I'm hearing from Spirit clairaudiently that some of us did, unbeknownst to us. But these mothers were so-called mothers were so trifling, they don't even know who knocked them up and when. Okay? So some of us, they are unaware of who our fathers are. Look at that. because you have, you have some of these, so-called mothers who were having sex with more than one man, unprotected sex with more than one man at, the same time, not, the exact same time, but you know what I mean. Filthiness, nastiness. But a lot of these mothers, they it's so funny when I think to myself. That's why you have so many, thoughts, hot and thoughts in the black community. And I'm not just talking in terms of the women. I'm talking also in terms of the men, prostitutes, in other words. A lot of these, black men, they are so indecisive, and they're always juggling, because they're, they want to know which bitch is gonna, get rich, or who's got more dough. Just like a lot of these women out there, so-called women, let me just say these things, okay? These things is that considers themselves males and females. Man and woman, they consider themselves. But I was grown, like I've said many times before, in strict poverty. Yes, I would consider it poverty. And, being up in the slum, wishing to get out, wishing I didn't live in this dump where every other day you hear, gunshots, you see gunmen storming through the yard with, guns and all of that, and your heart just start to beat really fast, and you just feel like you're living in a nightmare. That's how that's my experience for the first 12 years of my life. Let me just say that. In the slum. Well, almost 13 years, because the year that we moved, 2001, I was, going on 13 years old. Wait, was that? No, 2002, I think that was. And it's funny how here I am. I've made way better, life choices and decisions than the woman who claims to be my mother. And there she is, all over the place, spreading virulent rumors against me, about me, to try to tarnish my reputation, to try to discredit me for, being a good mother, a good, human being, a good entity, a good being overall. How hateful can someone be? Now, I don't feel bad. I feel sad that, she's not just the only one who's like that. Majority of these black, quote-unquote, mothers are like that. And it makes me feel sad that the world is really like this. The expectations that I had in regards to the world, the hopes I had, a lot of those hopes I see, diminished and faded away. I've had, dreams to explore and all of that. You know what I pretty much just want to do now? Which I already see that's what Spirit's pretty much beckoning everyone to do right now. And it's okay, it's fine by me, because that's what I want to do right now. It's to just isolate myself. I don't want any friends, especially just not from the Matrix. I'm good with Spirit. I've been good with Spirit for years. People have, ostracized me, outcast me, unjustly, but it was to my favor, because I'm the hermit. Hey, I like being in my own company anyways. Yeah, though they thought they were spiting me, I was like, okay, what the enemy meant for evil, God allowed for good. I love me some me time. But in terms of me, just going around helping people, not saying I'm not going to help people if I come into the position to be able to help people. I am helping people, period. Even me just sharing, these experiences, I am helping people. But I mean, from a financial standpoint, especially when it comes to black people, when you give them things, vain things, it's as though they become codependent on you. I don't want that. I don't want anyone to become obsessed with me or attached to me because I realize that, pretty much that's the only thing that makes you of value to majority black people. What you have. Okay? I like that quote that I found on, that interracial couples, Instagram account. People just, let me paraphrase, people just ask you people ask us what we do for a living so they can, sum up pretty much how to treat us. So, if we're making X amount of money, okay, treat us X amount away. Pretty much that's how it is, specifically in the black community. Word. So the money comes with the respect, it seems. Not authentic respect. Let me tell you that. Because you lose the money, you also lose the respect. And you wonder why it's specifically within the black community. You have whores, prostitutes, you have people, you have scammers, petty thieves. It don't matter what level a lot of you black people are at. You just always want. Even if, whether or not you deserve it, you just always want. And a lot of you don't have diligence, patience, temperance. You're not balanced. You're not willing to wait for 10 years like Steve Jobs or more. Or Elon Musk. To, manifest your own company, your own business. You try something for 6 days, it don't work, you give up. You're with someone, they're doing something for over a year, for 2 years, you don't see them coming in with checks, you give up on them. They're a waste of time. Look at that. That's how a lot of you black people you think. Because you just want everything now. You don't have any diligence. You're not willing to wait for the long haul. You have no persistence. You're not patient. You have no mercy. You don't, okay, this is something you're passionate about. Really passionate about. This is something they're also good at. I'm sure in time, it's going to work out. No! You don't care. All most of you care about is the money. Which leads me to talk about the greed. Okay, so I talk about, slothfulness, being lazy. The wrath, briefly, if you were catching on. Gluttony, because that is you not being balanced. You being imbalanced, not having temperance, okay? I guess I touch on gratitude, but you go listen to that video about the 7 deadly sins, okay? And I did touch on pride and humility. Let me talk about greed, the fear of lack, and also tying that in with lust, the unnecessary desire of something. You don't really need that thing, but you just got this desire, this hunger for it. Like, you're gonna die if you don't get it, but we know you're not gonna die, and you know you're not gonna die. That's lust. Like some of you have really wonderful wives. Some of you had really wonderful wives. But you were just so greedy. And that led you to lust. And every man sins when he's drawn away by his own lust. Is that unnecessary desire for. Some of you contract even STDs and STIs. Tying that in with pride because you were too proud to say you're sorry. And so the biatch who was easy to lay, who you were lusting for from the beginning, you just hit that bitch up. Okay, let's do this. She's easy to lay with you. She's easy to lay with every other ninja. Did you think of that? But tying that back in with pride, a lot of you men, you think you're all that. You think you're Bruce Almighty. How's this? Bruce Almighty pretending to be God Almighty. No, a lot of you got that Bruce Almighty complex where you think you're God Almighty. You're not God Almighty. How is this? Reality check. Mike, want to? How is this? So I realize, every time I come here, these people, they're like, what did I bring for the kids? They, strategically tell the kids, to say certain things to me, ask me certain things. Yeah, I'm an intuitive. I know all of that. And that is because they want to, make me feel a certain kind of way. Inadequate. As though I'm not being, enough of a mother. I'm teaching my sons, whenever I get the opportunity, at all times, the 7 heavenly virtues and the value of possessing them. And the judgment of, possessing the 7 deadly sins. I tell them all the time. And I break it down so they understand. And pretty much a lot of people, in a short space of time, 3, 2, 1, they're going to see the change. They're going to see a lot of people fall and crumble. And I'm going to be able to say, see sons, see son, see sons. Yeah? Remember what I told you about patience and being, diligent and having temperance and being grateful? Being humble. And then I'm going to touch on the chastity with them. Okay? And even the charity. Okay? Never use your blessings to spite other people. Because nobody is, meant to stay on top of the wheel for their entire lives. It doesn't work like that. If you are observant, you would, all see the evidence of what I'm saying. There's no singer, there's no, musician, performer, news broadcaster, politician. No, none of these people stayed on, the wheel of fortune forever or their entire lives. And the ones who refuse to move on and to change and to step aside so other people can rise, they ended up what? Tarnishing their reputations and their prestige. People got tired of them. They just became, a nuisance to people. Word. Now my children, they're not a charity case. Their father, he takes care of them. Financially wise. I'm investing in my company, in my business. I'm not sitting around stalking people on social media. I'm not sitting around playing games on my phone. I'm not sitting around. Today, I actually spent some quality time with my sons. And to be honest, I feel good because I've been, so focused on, my social media accounts, putting in the work. And, I decided to take a break. And, we were, goofing around. Before, Joshua, he, went for that hammer and would, seemingly dig in and hit his brother in his head. But we were goofing around and, playing on their tablets and, on my phone. And, we were having a good time. And that was good. We were bonding. But I realized they don't care about the well-being of my sons. They don't want them to be brought up in a decent manner or fashion. And like I said many a times, there are men whores. Men who all they care about is what they can get from a woman monetarily. It's like these men, they're selling dicks. And I had to, talk sternly to my son Asher today. His birthday's coming up, and very soon. And he was like, what am I going to give him for his birthday? Like, nothing's wrong with that question, but I know where he was coming from. I know where that question was coming from, rather. And, I had to let him know, listen, baby, if I have money, which I don't have any money right now, but if I have money, I'm going to get you a gift, but it's not going to be something expensive because it's not the time to squander or to, frivolously spend. There are things that are happening right now. There are frequencies that are bounding, and, it calls for, one to think in a conservator, kind of manner. And, I had to let him know, listen, birthdays are not all about receiving gifts or vanity. You gotta bear in mind that you did get to live to see another birthday, another year complete. A lot of children are dead. They're dead from COVID-19. Some of them died from other, ailments. Some of them died from, crime and, violence. Some of them died from famine, starvation. And I had to let him know, listen, today, some children are having their birthdays rather. But they're hungry. And they're hungry. Let me just say they're hungry. Not just are they hungry, but they are starving. They're starving. It's like, I can feel these children. It's like I can feel their energy. Sometimes when I talk about certain things, I don't like talking about certain things. Even with the readings, I don't like, tapping into certain frequencies because they make me sensitive. It's not really sensitive. It's as though I start feeling what these people are feeling. There are children whose birthday it is today. And they're starving right now, somewhere in the world. Probably also in Jamaica. But they're starved. They have no food. Their parents don't have the means of feeding them. Some of them, their parents don't care. And I'm like, I'm here. Be happy that I'm here. Be happy that you get to see another birthday. Be happy that you did not contract COVID-19 and die from COVID-19 or starvation or some act of violence. Life is what you give thanks for most of all. And then, not even your own life, you revel in. Because truth be told, even the very breath that we take is vain. Because we're, spiritual beings having human experiences. And if it is not to some, great spiritual realization or edification, then the very breath that we take is as though it's a waste. But they're, putting in these children's mind space and their mentalities that money is life, and without money they cannot be happy. But it's their way of trying to afflict me, or let me say quote unquote torment me. Now I don't know what they do to have the money that they have, or to be getting the money that they are getting, and I, to be honest, don't care. I'm minding my own business. That's what I'm doing. So when I start making my money, I know where my money's coming from. I know one thing for sure. It is not everybody you see flossing and spending got most of these people that you see flossing, because people who makes their money honestly don't got time to floss, or time we spend budgeting and being grateful to be able to balance and budget shit. Okay? I saw this video on TikTok earlier. TikTok, they call it, the app. I saw the video on TikTok earlier. This video with this, quote unquote father. It was pretty much, throwing money at his daughter. It is though the daughter and, I suppose her mother was, about to go shopping or something, and he was just like, he had a lump sum of cash in his hand. And I'm like, what is the point of all of that? He was like, he thinks he's setting a good example, like, okay, I'm giving you this so you don't have no reason to, take anything from anyone. But when you run out of cash, which that is a possibility or probability, because I'm not gonna judge him, but he looks like a drug dealer. A drug dealer, like I said, people who work hard for theirs. They don't go around. I doubt Elon Musk gives his kids money like that. Whether they're of it doesn't really matter, them being of a different gender. I doubt pretty much that Steve Jobs was like that either. And this man, he's not Caucasian, he's Hispanic, and he's like, these Hispanic people, they've got similar ways to, not all of you, okay, but majority of you, to the black people. But this ninja looked like some drug dealer. I was just reading into his energies, and a hitman or something. But he thinks he's setting a good example for his daughter. What happens when you run out of cash? All them other females, their fathers, probably some of them spoiled them. But there came a time where, you know, daddy's money ran out. And, you know, they were just so used to living a certain way, a certain type of life. And so, you know, then they gave in to peer pressure. So I thought to myself, he thinks he's, you know, setting a good example, but he was doing a, you know, very horrible thing, that which he did. Because there are going to be days where in which she's going to see something that she wants. And she's just really young. Like, she's not even older than 6 years old, if she's that old. I'm like, what? There are going to be days when she's going to see something that she wants, where you're not going to have enough cash. I'm telling you, because you ain't Elon Musk, you ain't Steve Jobs, you ain't Bill Gates. What are you going to say? Okay? What if, you know, some, you know, wealthy man, you know, if Elon Musk, you know, wealth range, or, you know, Bill Gates, you know, wealth range, you know, with millions. I don't even know if them guys, if they've got billions of dollars. I'm not sure of their net worth. What are you gonna do now when, you know, such men come across them, and if, you know, possibly being narcissistic, and ask them to do things that, you know, you specifically told them not to do for money, but because they so badly want this thing, and they're so used to always getting what they so badly want, they give in to peer pressure. So you gotta teach your children to abase and abound. You gotta teach them sometimes coffee, sometimes tea. You gotta teach them, listen, don't take anything from, you know, strangers without my permission. Don't take anything from anyone without my permission. It's not an issue of whether or not I got the money, yes or no. It's an issue of, you know, self-worth, dignity, diligence, patience. What are some of, you know, the other, you know, virtues? Temperance, gratitude, being, you know, being, what's that word? Being satisfied, yes. But there's another word I wanted to use. What's that word? I want to use that word. It's so precise. Being, you know, basically what I'm trying to say, come on, word, come on. It is you. Let me see if I have it written down here. No, didn't write it down, but I did put satisfied. Contented. That's what I'm trying to remember. So if it's a little, you're okay. If it's much, you're okay. You know how to abase and abound. So always, you know, throwing, you know, vanity and vain things, you know, at your children. It's not the right way to, you know, rear your children. I don't think Elon Musk rears his children like that. I don't know for a fact, but there was this, you know, video I was watching in terms of, you know, how they, you know, how his children are grown, and you know, he seems like a very, you know, well put together and stern parent. And there was also an aspect of it where in which they, you know, supposedly, allegedly quoted him in saying, you know, he's concerned about his sons because certain, you know, rough patches that he experienced in terms of, you know, like he said, he experienced being bullied at school. His son's not experiencing, them, or similar rough patches. Is concerned, as to their overall, I'm just paraphrasing, psyche or mentality or characters, okay, as they get older, because what he experienced and endured made him into, the diligent person he is today. And so, a lot of people, they're trying to cushion and, shelter their children from certain hardship. It is good for them to have what they need, but it's not always good to give them everything they want. Try to understand that. Right? So, my children, they're not a charity case. They are not starving. Okay? If anything, they should be in a much more comfortable, state of being financially than before. Because, like I said, the schools are closed, okay? Not just because it's summertime, but during, the school year, okay? There were no transportation expenses anymore. There were no more transportation expenses. There were no more, the lunch money expenses. None of that. To replace pencils and sharpeners. For this, for that, not even to buy write notebooks. Well, yeah, notebooks still, but not as many as before, because a lot of the work is being done online. Even certain, worksheet and, work activity, I should say, certain activities and exercises are being done online. So, even, the writing books, those have been, reduced. So, a lot of expense has been cut in regards to, educating our children. So, them, always, they're them being, in this obsessed frequency, projecting it on the children, manipulating the children to always say they want this and that. And trust me, people, I read the children's energies, and I know it's when it's them talking, and I know it's when, them being manipulated to say something. That's, how empathic and connected you gotta be, not just to your children, but overall, dealing with everybody, anybody from every walk of life. Do not be deceived by anyone. So I was like, I don't know, what are they teaching my children? Are they teaching my, sons to be whores or prostitutes? Why is it that everything is about money? And, my children aren't charity cases. Their, father is ordered by the court of law to pay child support. I'm not wasting time on my phone. Y'all trying to hinder me from doing my business on my phone. Because you want to keep me or you want to put me, rather, not keep me, because I'm not in that frequency, a subservient position. They're the ones who went and, said that, they want to keep the boys because I'm mentally deranged. I never asked them to keep my sons. So they have no right to ask me for a tuppence. Not even a 25-cent Jamaican dollars. They don't have the right to ask me for anything because I never asked them. As, legal guardian of my children, I never asked them to keep my children. They're the ones who latched on to them. So we were staying with them for a while after I separated from their father. I decided to move here. They tried to stop me from moving with my children. Look at that. And then, they expect me to give them money to take care of my children. No. You're just being traveling hoes. Whores. Greedy for money. Nasty, filthy people. That's just nasty. God, He knows what, these people, will do for money. And like I said before, once I burnt them, burnt that songbook, I burnt that book about astrology, because I got everything in my head, baby. Thank God, thank goodness. They weren't so adamant on, getting me admitted in a mental ward. I'm like, look at that. I was intuitively led by Spirit to burn them. And the cards, the intuitive cards. Look at that. So, pretty much, that really confirmed what I said about, them people. They sold me out. They collected money from somebody to steal my stuff. And, I'm betting that it's going to be that person who's going to come and slaughter them. I'm telling you, because I saw that in the astral plane. And it serves them right. I wish that were tonight. Let me just say that. Honestly, and just get these people out of my life. It would just be them causing their own destruction and mayhem. Who the fuck told you to sell what wasn't yours? Whores? Trifling whores? Who the fuck told you to sell what wasn't yours? Y'all don't even fucking like me. You never gave me anything. Whatever chuppins you ever looked at me and gave me was, laced with sorcery and black magic and witchcraft to destroy my, connections. And to delay me, which, might I add, worked out for my own good. Because them men weren't loyal anyways. Those are just, some lying coon-ass ninjas. And not just that. The spell work that they did to work against me actually worked for me. And it amplified. Them spell work, rather, amplified my gifts and abilities. So what the enemies meant for evil, God allowed for good. Teach your children good values. Teach them and, help them to, identify and to possess the 7 heavenly virtues. Show them, teach them how to identify and to, repel and reject the 7 deadly sins, them 7 wicked spirits. If you mean your children well, or whoever, you have around you who, is in need of guidance, home training. If you mean them any well, you teach them the 7 and help them, guide them in, possessing the 7 heavenly virtues. And, aid them in identifying and repelling the 7 deadly sins, them 7 wicked spirits. Because there's only destruction for those who possess them 7 deadly sins. The 4 horsemen, they're coming for them. Pale horse frequency. 5th house in Scorpio. Okay? So, okay, I just wanted to put this out there because I've been saying this for a time now. And, it's so appalling, the way in which, these people think they can, do a better job at parenting than I can, or that I have, And they're not teaching my kids. Even Asher, the so-called younger half-sister, who's a, quote-unquote university grad, claimed to, taught him, to read. And even that guy who I was with in St. Mary when, Asher came to stay with us, was like, but he can't read. He wasn't even able to, and that, let me see, that was, last year. Asher was 6 years old. Wait. Let me see. Yeah, he was 6 years old. He was 6 years old. Yeah. He wasn't even able to identify the alphabet. the letters of the alphabet. And I had to, Esau, that guy, if he's so willing to be honest, because like for me, it don't matter what, past you and I, God, I'm going to be honest. You put in the work, I'm going to say you put in work. I'm not going to lie. Okay, period dot. He literally saw how I taught my son just as I taught my older son. He saw how I taught my younger son the letters of the alphabet, because I don't know what the hell they were doing in, basic school. We send our children there, and we, entrust these so-called teachers to teach our children. They don't teach them shit. Okay? They don't care. They care more about gossiping and, discussing these parents and, talking all kinds of BS. I've heard it. Like, literally heard, them, chatting and discussing and gossiping about parents. So that's what they care about, that's their passion. It's just, some Gemini social media shit, drama. It's not, teaching. They're not passionate about teaching. And that's why the children weren't learning, okay? But, COVID-19 is such a, beautiful, manifestation. It's a finger of God, because now parents can, see, guardians can see what the hell these teachers have been up to and what they're up to. And can really, decipher and realize, no, this one ain't shit. Period dot. And he saw I taught, Asher the alphabet. And these people were, manipulating his energy, making it really hard for him to learn. Let me just say that. Making it really hard for him to learn. And during the, in a short space of time, Asher was, staying with me in St. Mary. He learned not only the letters of the alphabet, well, might I add, but he also learned to read properly. Just as I did with, Joshua. And, when he was here, he was, even as, as old as 6 years old, he was, defecating himself. Okay, and, these, wicked ass people, they were like, oh, he misses his mother. It's because, he misses me. Why, he's not talking when he wants to, defecate, and he's not going to the toilet to defecate and all of that. And I'm like, okay, then give me my son. And to be honest, that was the main reason why I took Asher with me to, St. Mary. I wanted both of them to come. But he, was so happy to come. Joshua was hesitant because they told Joshua, I didn't have any electricity, I didn't have any internet, I didn't have this, I didn't have that. And, that, discouraged him. Because he wants electricity, he wants, internet. And he's not sure if what they're saying is true, blah, blah, blah. And he wants that comfortability. So I took Asher. That's why I really, took my son Asher, because they were, creating this whole heap of drama that, he misses his mother, and the separation between you and him is affecting him. That's why he's defecating himself on himself. Like, the nerve these, things have. And then, when I took my son, they created this whole drama. The guy, he came here. He never asked them anything about me. But, they're the so-called younger half-sister and, the so-called mother were hurling all kinds of insults about me, to the guy. He never said a word to them. He never asked them anything about my character or my reputation. But they were, already trying to discourage him from building a connection with me. Look at that. Some hateful, lonely ass miserable bitches. I'm gonna tell you that. But he was a no gooder from the get go. He was a no gooder from the get go. So I don't lose anything. I tell you, when the right one comes, if they open their mouths against me, I'm gonna tell you, it's not gonna be nice for them. Let me just say that. When the right man comes, yeah, if they know what's best for them, just don't even say hi. Because it's not going to be good for them. That's when the right man comes. So I don't feel that loss for, anything. If anything, they saved me from a wicked ninja. Because what the enemy is meant for evil, God allows for good. Period. Dot. Yeah. I didn't lose anything good. I lost a lot of bullshit, a lot of, baggage, a lot of, betrayal, a lot of, pussyfooting around me. Those are the things that I lost, low vibrational frequencies and negativity. I didn't lose anything good. Because when the good comes for me, no bitch, no ninja will be able to interfere with that. I'm telling you, I'm not asking you. I'm confident in that. Period. Dot. I feel it, I hear it, I see it. Yeah. And it's already prophesied that, when the right one comes, they're going to try to do the same thing, but it's not going to work. But Spirit has already revealed to me in so many ways, like I said, that spell work that I did for, Spirit to reveal to me my enemies and to expose them to the world. And people are watching. People are, seeing everything that's taking place. The views that I'm seeing, the viewers count that I'm seeing on these videos, they're not real. They're manipulating my social media account. I know that. People are watching, people are listening. 3 likes and 1 view. I'm not a numbskull. I know math. Okay? Period. Dot. And so, I know people, they're watching and they're listening. Even, these trolls, because they're trolls, they won't, seemingly leave me alone. They want to, they want me to be in misery like they are, And so the issue is not pretty much that they wanted me to take my children. They wanted me to come here. So, and to be subservient to them. No, I'm chosen. No, y'all peasants. Y'all supposed to be subservient unto me. And I don't even want y'all as my servants. That's how, pathetic and low they are. I don't even want them as servants. I don't want to see them. I want to be far from these people, these things, as the east is from the west and the north from the south. I don't even want them to be of service to me. Whether it's free service or paid service, I don't want to see them. I just want to be rid of them. I want them out of my life. I want them out of my sons' lives. Period. Dot. And there's no change in my mind where that's concerned. That's pretty much been my point of view for years. That's why Sila, I've been just like on the run, because I'm on the run to get away from them. I don't like them. I don't want to be around them because I see that they're pure wicked. Pure wickedness, pure envious, purely envious, purely wicked, purely covetous, full of pride, lust, gluttonous, and slothful. That's them. They've already, possessed every one of the 7 deadly sins. They miss none. It's not like these people, like, geez, not one. One could have, do it out or, forsake or repel. No, they got all 7 motherfucking deadly sins, people. All 7 of them. All 7. So a lot of you may be talking about, oh, she used a lot of profanity. Okay? Where is that in the 7 deadly sins? I'm pretty sure that you who's judging me, I'm pretty sure that you've got at least one of them 7 deadly sins. Okay? And you know, for most cases, people don't really have or possess one. Period. Dot. I'm not saying in all cases, most cases. Most cases, you possess more than one. Because one leads to the other. They're all connected. Word. Word, word, word. So, they ostracize me and they outcast me a lot of times. Because their intention is, they started telling people I'm a hoe, I'm a whore. They don't see the evidence of it. People, they don't see the evidence. And so them pretty much ostracizing me. Leaving me out for dead. To suffer, to starve. You know, it's their way of, you know, trying to force my hand into prostitution. But what they did was to, you know, amplify my reputation. To show to the whole world, not just a particular region or a particular community or a particular country, but the whole world, that I'm not a whore. Period. Dot. I value myself, but I'm not a whore. Okay? There's a big difference. A lot of you women, you wanna, you know, a lot of you men wanna, you know, terms us, you know, women of, you know, high, you know, self-worth, of, you know, balanced, let me just say that, self-worth, and, you know, self-value. You want to term us as prostitutes. No, we're not. Because we stand up for ourselves and we demand only what we are worth and deserve. No, we're not whores. We're loyal, you know, women. Faithful. Committed. Diligent. Persevering. Bearing chastity. Patient. Full of gratitude. And we're humble. And we're also charitable. So we know who we are. We're good women. And the more they try to get people to see me as a whore, a prostitute, a mentally deranged person, the more they see me as, the more people see me as the opposite. Period. Dot. And the more they're seen as what they're trying to project onto me. Yeah. And it's simple as that. I'm gonna leave it right there, people. That was a lengthy conversation, you know. But the scripture says, you know, bring up a child in the way he must, you know, you must go. Or if you want to say grow, either word can work. train up a child in the way in which they must grow or they must go. And when they're old or grown, they will not depart. I'm paraphrasing. So you teach them to possess good ethics and morals and values. That their worth, their self-worth, is not tied to vanity, what they have or what they don't have. And that's why you have a lot of people who are poor and they look so old and so aged, like, that, thing was. When she was 31 years old, I'm telling you, it's like it was just yesterday, I can remember. She looked so pitiful almost. And that's because she has that greed. She fears lack. And that's why she looked so old for her age. Money is what makes that woman feel comfortable. Without money, she's one of them people who would commit suicide. Suicide in the midst of, debts. Because her comfortability is tied to money. That's a horrible and sad thing. Me, I'm not like that. Whether or not I got money, I ain't stressing myself. Because I don't just put on a form of godliness, but deny the power of Him. Or the power that He has. I know the power that God has. I've seen His power at work many a times. And my spiritual family and the ancestral spirits. And I know that spirit is powerful. Way more powerful than, the spirit. Than the physical. My apologies. So I know. I trust in God. I don't just pretend or act as though I do, but I really do. A lot of these people, their trust is in horses and chariots. Their horses and chariots. So if they, and also, that's where their confidence lies. Because where your trust is, there also is your confidence. So if these people, they become, horseless or chariotless, they become very depressed. And they hang themselves. A lot of them. These are the people who sacrifice people. Who traffic people. Who we say here in Jamaica, sell out people. Because they're very shallow and vain. These people, they have no loyalty for anyone. They will, give away anyone in a gist or a jiffy. And, from such people you must detach. And such people you must repel and resist. Because a little leaven does leaven up the whole lump. You don't want to become like them. Namaste.